BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS has been the gateway to your IAS prep. Our YouTube channel is going to get even better from 2023. Starting 2nd January, the Hindu newspaper analysis will be conducted live every day at 10 a.m. by your beloved faculties. Not only this, we have a whole new set of initiatives lined up for the new year to help you clear this prestigious exam. So subscribe to our YouTube channel now and give wings to your civil services dream.
Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the big news. The topic for today's discussion, India-Australia ECTA comes into effect. Let us try and understand what is this article in greater detail. India and Australia both are members of the Commonwealth countries. We have parliamentary democracies. We also have similar legal systems as well. Both the countries are also part of Quad. They are also members of Trilateral Supply Chain Resilience Initiative. As part of the assignment, please put on the comment section which is the other country which is part of this Trilateral Supply Chain Resilience Initiative. And we are also part of India-Pacific Economic Framework. So India and Australia are already members of all these groups, and now to give further boost to their economic cooperation, what we have is the ECTA. So the India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement basically happens to be a free trade agreement as it provides an institutional mechanism to encourage, improve the trade relationship between India and Australia. We have the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, who went on to say, glad that India-Australia ECTA is entering into force today. It is a watershed moment for our comprehensive strategic partnership. It will unlock enormous potential of our trade and economic ties and boost businesses on both the sides. Look forward to welcoming you in India soon, says the Prime Minister of our country, Narendra Modi ji. So, what is this agreement all about? The agreement encompasses cooperation across the entire gamut of bilateral economic and commercial relations between the two friendly countries and covers areas like trading goods, rules of origin, trade in services, technical barriers to trade, sanitary and phytosanitary measures, dispute settlement, movement of natural persons, telecom, custom procedure, pharmaceutical products, as well as cooperation in the other areas. First, let us understand what is the meaning of the free trade agreement. A free trade agreement is a pact between two or more nations to reduce barriers to imports and exports from them. So what is it? This happens to be an agreement. It happens to be a pact between two or more countries. Basically, the objective is to remove all the trade barriers that are existing between the countries. Let's say, for example, one country makes an export, the other country sends its export. So there is import and export. In order to ensure that there is free trade relationship, all the trade barriers are removed and we have preferential trade terms between both the countries. That is what is called as free trade agreement. So as the name denotes, it is free trade agreement. So trade agreement between two countries so that all the impediments, hazards, obstructions are completely removed when it comes to the trade agreement between one country and another country. Then we have preferential access, which can be thought of as a policy that provides comparative advantage when countries discriminate across trading partners by providing some countries with lower tariffs. For example, high income countries often grant non-reciprocal preferential access to least developed countries in order to facilitate the latter's economic growth by providing an incentive to their exports. So basically, what would happen as part of the preferential market access is the exporters will be providing less tariffs. The exporters would be paying less tariffs, that is, they would be paying less taxes, and at the same time, there can be a situation as well where they'll be paying no taxes as well. So, if a particular country is given preferential trade access, it means there'll be reduced tariffs or no tariffs. This can be done because they have entered into a free trade agreement, or in other cases, we have the developed countries. The developed countries feel that there is a developing country whose exports will have to be accepted so that they also grow as well. This is what is called as preferential market access. Why does India need the free trade agreements? That is because India is basically diversifying, expanding its exports. As of now, we have number of imports that we make from couple of countries. We also do couple of exports to number of countries as well. So to diversify the exports and to ensure that we have diversification of imports as well, India has entered into a free trade agreement. So some of the factors as to why India has considered free trade agreements is to get cheaper access to the raw materials, make sure that we attract more foreign direct investments into our country, boost the competitiveness as well, and at the same time there are also other geopolitical reasons as to why India has entered into a free trade agreement with Australia. Now the important question is, what is the process of this ECTA? What exactly happens? We have the exporters who would be exporting from India to Australia, so they would be able to file preferential certificate of origin under the ECTA through a digital portal, and basically the preferential certificate of origin certifies that particular merchandise is either duty exempt or subject to the reduced tariffs. So it is either eliminated with all the imposition of the taxes, or it might have less tariffs in comparison to the other countries. So which are the sectors that we have focusing on? India will benefit from preferential market access provided by Australia on 100% of its tariff lines, including the labor intensive sectors of export interest to India, such as gems and jewelry, textiles, leather, footwear, furniture, food, agricultural products, engineering products, medical devices, and automobiles. So basically, market will be provided and we would be able to export these products from India to Australia. So these are the exports that India will be making from India to Australia, where there will be reduced tariffs or no tariffs as well. On the other hand, India will be offering preferential access to Australia on over 70% of its tariff lines, including lines of export interest to Australia, which are primarily raw materials and intermediaries such as coal, mineral oils, and wines. So India is also providing preferential access so that Australia is making exports. So India would be providing reduced tariffs or no tariffs to about 70% of the products. As regards to trade in services, Australia has offered wide-ranging commitments in around 135 subsectors and most favored nation status in 120 subsectors covering key areas of interest to India. On the other hand, India has also offered market access to Australia in around 103 subsectors, most favored nation status in 31 subsectors from 11 broad service sectors such as business services, communication services, construction and related engineering services, so on and so forth. And finally, both the sides have also agreed to a separate annex on pharmaceutical products under this agreement, which will enable fast track approval of patented, generic, and biosimilar medicines. So, if we look into this India Australia ECTA, there will be zero duty by Australia on 100% tariff lines, additional 10 lakh jobs will be created, increased investments from Australia. There'll be over 1 lakh Indian students to benefit from post-study work visa, and Indian yoga teachers, chefs to gain with annual visa quota, which happens to be the significance of this particular agreement. So basically, with this particular agreement, what we would be able to get is cheaper raw materials. We will convert them into the finished products and also export the same to Australia. So what is the significance of this agreement? There is a lot of potential for exporting finished goods to Australia. Since they hardly manufacture anything, they are largely a raw material and intermediate producing country. We will get cheaper raw materials, which will not only make us more competitive globally, but also enable us to serve Indian consumers better, enabling us to provide more quality goods at a more affordable prices. Then we have the agreement which will also eliminate double taxation on the IT services, which are making us less competitive, making us less profitable in the IT sector, and this double taxation has now been removed by amending the law. It is also estimated that additional 10 lakh jobs would be created in India under the ECTA. So Indian yoga teachers, chefs are to gain from the annual visa quota. There'll be more than 1 lakh Indian students who would benefit from the post-study work, and at the same time, this agreement will also provide increased investment opportunities, promote exports, create additional employment, and increase a further bond between India and Australia. China is Australia's largest state partner with a 33% share in its exports and a 27% share in its imports, compared to India's 3.7% in its export and 2.4% share in the imports as of 2021. So, what is being done? Now they are trying to diversify it away from China so that Australia also does diversification as well. Because there was a lot of reliance on China, Australia also feels threatened. What if it does not supply few raw materials? What if it does not supply few products from China to Australia? So in order to diversify from Australia's viewpoint, they have taken up this initiative as well. India is the world's largest importer of coal. Out of India's coal trade deficit of 24 billion, Australia accounts for 11 billion, and the India-Australia ECTA is likely to make coal a crucial input for India's energy needs and its industrial growth, available at competitive prices. These are some of the significant factors with respect to India-Australia ECTA. Earlier, India in the month of May had also entered into a free trade agreement with United Arab Emirates. This is operational as well. So this agreement with Australia is India's first such pact with the developed country in the last decade. So the trade deal between India and Australia is a major milestone between India and Australia. This will not only increase the mutual cooperation between both the countries, but it will also contribute to growth of both the economies. So Indian economy will also take a boost, Australian economy will also grow as well, and at the same time the strategic partnership between the countries will also increase as both the countries are planning to diversify away from China. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.